Welcome. It's not yet 30 minutes after the hour, but the session has been opened. So I will do a little bit of babbling while we wait for people to enter the session room. Hope you've been having an amazing time today on Medium Day. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I really appreciate you making the time for this session. This session, just so you know you're in the right place, is called How to Find the Love of Your Life. How about that? That is today's session. My name is Eric Teplitz. I am a life coach. I work with people to help them get very clear on what is most important to them and then move into greater alignment with those ideals. I pride myself on living with passion and authenticity, and in my work, I aspire to help others do the same. That's a little bit about me. Um, just some admin stuff. I will have some time for Q&A when I'm done my speech today on this topic. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to enter them into the Q&A tab. I believe there's a blue button that says ask a question, and you can put your questions there. When I'm done speaking, I will go ahead and field as many of them as there is time for. And it looks like a few people have entered the room. We're still not even at the 30-minute mark past the hour, though. So I will wait just a little bit and continue babbling. More and more people are coming in. This is How to Find the Love of Your Life. You're in the right place if that is what you're looking for. And I will also say up front that I have a link in the chat to the article that I published on Medium, and my thanks to Illumination, which is the publication that it appears on. And I'm not going to simply regurgitate everything that's in the article. The article is a supplement and a very recommended supplement to this talk when you have the time to check it out. I think that you'll find it hopefully useful. That's the goal, is for it to actually be useful and actionable. So I will cover some of the material in the article and some material perhaps that's not in the article, and I will field your questions when we're done. And again, my name is Eric Teplitz. There's a link to my website also in the chat, and I have a special offer specifically for people attending Medium Day. If you go to the front page, the homepage of my website, you will see that offer. It is good through the weekend. But also, I want to let you know about another offer to anyone attending this session, and that is a free one-on-one coaching call with me. No obligation whatsoever beyond a simple conversation where hopefully I can help you move the needle in the direction you want to go. So that offer is on the table as well. And if you go to my website and make sure you click on the coaching tab, it'll give you all the information you need, and a scheduler will pop up, and you can go ahead and schedule a call. If you're interested in doing so, I'm happy to give you a free coaching call and try to help you out. All right, without further ado, it's 31 minutes past the hour, and it is time to find the love of your life. This is How to Find the Love of Your Life. So you're all here, however many of you showed up, and you're wanting to know the magic formula. You're wanting to know the ultimate secret that you want me to dispense to you on how to find the love of your life, because let's face it, it's not easy. So consider this. I'm going to get the Wizard of Oz moment over and done with up front. So consider this the Wizard of Oz moment. The magic formula and the ultimate secret, as you probably already know, there is none. All right. So the way I want to structure this talk is to give you the bad news first. We're going to look at it fearlessly in the face. And then I promise you there will be good news as well before the talk is over. And again, I encourage you, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. And when I'm done speaking, I will field as many of them as possible. All right. So the bad news, in case your parents didn't tell you when you were growing up, mine certainly did. Life is not fair. Okay. At least from the perspective of us humans, it's not fair. There's injustice everywhere. It doesn't take You don't have to search far and long to discover this. Um, so that's the reality that we're living in and with. And again, this is from the human perspective. I don't claim to, uh, know from the cosmic perspective whether there is fairness or not. But when it comes to relationships, human relationships, there was a book that was published many years ago called The Rules. Well, I believe in the opposite, that when it comes to human relationships, there are no rules. And what I mean by that is that anything and everything can happen within the context of a human relationship in terms of how people get together, whether or not they stay together. People sometimes drift apart and come back together. There are no rules. There are no hard and fast rules when it comes to human beings and relating to each other. There's also no denying what I call the luck factor when it comes to so many things in life, and that very much includes romantic relationships. So I just want you to know up front, this is not a pie in the sky talk. We are dealing with reality as we all experience it. Um, but that said, there are ways to deal with that reality and to find the love of your life. So we already know that life is not fair, and it doesn't promise any of us that we will get what we want, that we will get what we deserve, that our dreams will come true, that we will find a wonderful mate to share our life with. None of that is guaranteed. We're not even guaranteed that we'll be here for another day on this earth. Um, we understand this intellectually, but it's really hard to take that in. But it does seem to be true. I mean, you don't have to again look far to learn this. So there's no guarantees. So what do we do with that? Well, there's a lot that's not in our control, but the what we want to do is we want to focus in on what is in our control. And the good news is that there are some really important things that are in our control. As far as finding the love of your life in the sense of a long-term fulfilling relationship, a romantic relationship with a long-term partner, it is possible. I am living proof of that. And I'm actually very happily married, not just married, but very happily married. And I have to tell you from my own personal experience that I kind of went through hell and back numerous times before finally meeting Samantha, whom I married in 2012 on the 7th anniversary of the day that we met. So, and we've been now together, we've been married. It'll be coming up on 11 years married and 18 years together in November. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible, and I'm not a total freak and like just some aberration. Like it actually is possible um, to find the love of your life in terms of a long-term relationship with a really compatible mate. That is the thing that is so elusive for so many of us. And sometimes you have to pay a lot of dues before getting there. I certainly did. But you know what? As I said before, um, there's there's no apparent obvious justice in the world, and some people like meet the love of their life when they're in high school or something, right? High school sweethearts, and then they get married and they're happy as clams, assuming clams are happy. And that happens too, right? Like people who put forth no effort at all and just luck into it. That happens. Then there's people who put tremendous amounts of effort into it and it doesn't happen. And everything in between, right? So people can and do meet in every conceivable way, and meet and pair up and have a fulfilling relationship. But there's no step by step secret path to follow. Um, it can happen and it does happen. I'm going to share what worked for me. It's a very simple idea, and I outline it in the article that, again, is linked to at the top of the chat box, which you can look at afterwards. It's a very simple idea. It's not a magic formula and it offers no guarantees. However, I really believe in it because whether or not it works in terms of finding the love of your life, it's going to make your life way better if you just do this, if you live by this. All right, you ready? Here it is. There's no apps involved, nothing like that. Here it is. Do the things that you love to do. I'm pausing for effect. Do the things that fill you, that light you up, that make you happy. Do those things as often as you can. As maybe it's just one thing, maybe it's 6 or 7 different things. Do those things as often as you can. Now, there's also a caveat to that. At least some of the time, you need to do those things out in public and either with other people or near other people. Okay? That's it. That's what worked for me. And I detail that in the article if you want all of the details, or we can get into it in the Q&A if you want when I'm done speaking. But that's what worked for me. Now, even if that doesn't work, even if you follow that advice to a T for the rest of your days, and it doesn't lead to you finding this wonderful romantic partner that you build a life with, guess what? You are still going to not only live a great life, but you are going to find what amounts to the love or loves of your life. Okay? Think about that. And also, I want you to think about what we do, what we often do. We often do the opposite of this advice. I know it sounds so obvious, but we often do the opposite. What do? We do things that we don't love. An example, swiping through apps would be an example, perhaps, for many people. For me, it would be going out to bars. I have no interest in that, never did. But people will do those things, even if they don't like those things, they will do them strictly in the hope of finding this elusive love of their life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It might even work. As I said, no rules. But here's the thing. If it doesn't work, then you're spending your time doing something and doing things that make you unhappy. And I personally think that that's not going to be a good way to go about your life. Sure, do them once in a while, try them, but as a system, I don't think it's the best approach. I also don't think that we should depend on randomness. Randomness does exist, it does happen, and we can randomly luck ourselves into all kinds of great situations. But this is not a good strategy. It's wonderful if it happens, but it's not a good strategy for living, let alone finding a compatible long-term mate. So I advise to keep that to a minimum and focus on the things that you love. Now, this advice that I just gave you presumes that you already know what it is that you love, what it is that lights you up, what it is that makes you happy. There is a presumption within that advice that I gave. And it's quite possible that you don't know what those things are for you. Or maybe you used to know, but they no longer apply, or where you find yourself now, you're lost and you're not in touch with those things. So then the advice is still the same. You need to find the love or loves of your life. And the way that you do that is by honoring and following your curiosities. I highly recommend the practice of journaling, and I have a separate article on Medium called The Value of Journaling, which is all about this. Journaling is really, really powerful for so many reasons. Among them, it helps you really get in touch with yourself. It helps you build a relationship with yourself. And that relationship can then be a template for your relationships with others. But it really helps you listen to yourself, and listening is crucial in any relationship. And journaling, I view journaling as like sort of the ultimate gesture of self-respect, because you're saying, you know what, I'm deserving of love and attention. And so you're giving yourself that love and attention. You're not depending upon that coming from, say, a romantic partner. Whether that happens or not, you're giving that to yourself. And it's very powerful. Not to mention, it helps you figure out what kinds of things you're interested in perhaps exploring. And by putting it down on paper, you're much more likely to then take action on it, as opposed to it being just some idea floating around in your head that is easily forgotten. So I'm a big proponent of journaling in general. um, so here's the other thing that I want to share with you about honoring and following your curiosities, whether it's in regard to a potential romantic partner or anything else. This is huge. This is not in the article, by the way. This is in a different article that I think is called Media. It's on Medium, and it's called, I believe, 7 Lessons I Learned on My Journey to Finding a Fulfilling Long-Term Relationship. Maybe it's not quite that wordy, but you can find it on Medium. And if someone happens to find it, they can put it in the chat while I'm talking. That would be great. But the seventh and final lesson in that article, I really want to just spend a little bit of time sharing with you, and that is summed up in 3 words that happen to have a really nice ring to them. And those 3 words are explorations over expectations. Explorations over expectations. This is like, I can't believe I'm giving this to you for free. That's how like revolutionary this is. Okay. Um, it's easier said than done, perhaps. I will grant you that. But here's the idea is, let's say you are single and dating and, meeting people. It's human nature that if you meet someone and let's say they have very obviously some of the characteristics that you really value, whatever those happen to be, right? They're fully on display in this other person. It's just human nature then to get your hopes up. Okay? I'm not saying don't do that. Don't be a human. But keep your expectations in check and remember that you don't know this person. You don't know the whole story about this person. And there could be a million different reasons why this person is not a good match for you, even if it's not obvious on the surface. So then what is your task? Your task is one of exploration, which means talk to the person, maybe go on dates with the person, get to know the person with a mindset of exploration, doing your best to keep your expectations, some of which are just natural that will come up, or hopes at least, to keep them in check and to view life as an exploration. And the more that you can do this, whether it comes to people you're dating or even just life paths you're looking into, it could be for a career or even just a hobby, just following that, honoring that impulse or curiosity that you have, is you're exploring it. And the goal, I think, should be to sort of leave no stone unturned, right? You want to get the most out of this opportunity. This is a weird existence that we have. It's weird. We're here and we're gone. Why? No one knows. So the more you can view it as an exploration, and the more you can, and this takes a lot of practice, I think, detach from expectation, the better off you're going to be. So that's my advice when going through the process of dating and really through the process of living, is explore and see and understand that there are going to be dead ends. Understand you're going to go on. I mean, in my case, I don't even know how many first dates I went on. It was a large number. Okay. That just ended there. So there are going to be a lot of dead ends when you're exploring things in life, whether it's a potential, dating partner, or whether it's a career or whatever. There's going to be dead ends. And that is part of the process. That's just how it works. That's part of the deal. And I have to tell you also from personal experience that the good part about that is that when something does work, when something does click, the more of those experiences, those dead end, go nowhere experiences you've had prior to this, the more fulfilling the good thing is when something works. I cannot even convey that enough. Like, so for example, I wrote a song for Samantha, my wife. You can find it online. It's called Sublime. If you type in my name into YouTube and the word Sublime, you'll find it. And in the lyrics to that song is an expression of my gratitude and also sort of an explanation of how all of the crap that I had to go through, it all paid off, and it all made it so much. It makes me so much more grateful now. So when you're suffering through the hardships, keep that in mind, that those hardships are going to um, make, you know, whenever something works out for you, that much more profoundly good. Okay. So I am going to just try to wrap this up and then field. Let's see if we have some questions in the Q&A. No questions yet. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking. But if you do have questions, feel free to put them in there. So the good news, because I gave you the bad news at the very beginning, I want to just sort of emphasize the good news, is that life may not be fair, but here's the thing about love, um, is that love isn't just something that happens to you or doesn't. You play a very pivotal role in its proliferation, in its um, manifestation in the world, because you can be a vessel and a conduit for love. You're not just simply waiting and searching for love. Um, you ideally are creating and allowing love to come through you, to come through the prism of your being, without getting too woo woo, but just simply allowing it to pass through you. Now, what does that mean, practically speaking? It can mean a lot of different things. It can be simply showing up with kindness. I mean, I can't, do you know how big of a deal that is? Showing up with kindness is huge. That is a way to manifest love in the moment, to do something for someone without any expectation of something in return, but just for the joy of giving of yourself, whether that happens to be, you know, sharing information that you have, or something helpful, or sharing a meal with, giving somebody like a meal when they're in financial hardship. Any gesture that you can give of love, you are creating love. You are putting love out into the world. You are allowing it to pass through you. Saying yes to things is a way of allowing love into your life. Accepting the generosity of others is a way to allow love into your life. As I said before, being curious and then acting on those curiosities is a way to open yourself up to potential love in your life. Connecting with others is a way to bring love into your life. So basically, love becomes a practice, not just something that you very needily search for. It becomes a practice. It becomes a way of conducting your life, conducting yourself with love, being love in the world, and doing the things, finding the things that you love to do, and participating in life by doing those things. Again, at least some of the time out in public, with other people, near other people. That is my advice on how to find the love of your life. And I just want to close this by saying that, in a very clinical sense, if, let's say, an AI, and this is not so far-fetched right now, let's say an AI was observing your every behavior all day long, the AI would see, by the example of the way you conduct yourself, what it is you actually care about. And the AI would determine that, not just by the things that you do and the words that you say, but by the things that you really commit yourself to and invest yourself in wholly and give of yourself to and participate in with enthusiasm. The AI would just like give you a report in objective text saying, this is the love of your life. These are the loves of your life. It's objective truth based on how you're living. So if you're wondering what it is that you love, maybe try taking a look at your life the way an AI would, or some completely objective observer would. That's one thing. And then if you're not clear about these things, then it's time to go out and explore and to really pay attention to those inner promptings. Journaling's great for this. Meditation can be great for this. Exercise can be great for this. Going out for walks can be great for this. I can't tell you how many ideas I get when I'm walking. And then following up and on some of those ideas, understanding that it may be a dead end. That's okay. It's an exploration that you have, ideally not an expectation. So I want to wish all of you here good luck in life and in love. I hope that you enjoyed this talk. Let's see if there are any questions. A couple of questions. Okay. I missed what you said about how to find those things you love. Okay, I would direct you to the article that's at the top of the chat, because I go into I think more of a detailed explanation in that article. But I would say observe the facts of your life. Also pay attention to how you're feeling during the course of the day, and really notice when you're happy. What are the things that make you happy? Pay close attention, almost as if you're an outside observer. This takes a lot. This is not easy to do, right? Because we get lost in our heads most of the time. Meditation is very helpful for helping you realize and pay attention to what's going on in your body and your mind. So those are some ideas. Also brainstorm, journal, make lists, think about things that you used to love, maybe that you've lost touch with, lost a connection with, things from your past or your childhood. And then also, they don't have to be these big, grand things. It could be just like a curiosity. It could be, man, that kind of sounds interesting. And then just venturing off in an exploration, maybe taking a class, maybe just reading a book, learning something new. The more new input that you can get, the more you'll know when something, that, like, let's face it, when you love something. And when you don't. You might be kidding yourself. We all do that too, but deep down. All right. So again, my name is Eric Teplitz. I am a life coach. I offer each and every one of you today attending this session. If you are interested, I have however many slots are left on my calendar. Feel free to book a free one-on-one coaching call with me if you would like that. I also have a special offer, limited time, just through the end of the weekend, for an online course that I created, massively discounted. That is on the homepage of my website, ericteplitz.com. And if you just want to reach out for any reason, feel free to do so via my website. There's a contact form on there. I also have a couple dozen at least articles published on Medium, so feel free to follow me on Medium and check out, especially in this case, what might be of interest to you: how to find the love of your life, and the 7 lessons learned, whatever the rest of it is called, about finding a long-term relationship. All right. Hope this has been helpful. I have one other session that I'm doing today before the day is done, 35 minutes-ish, 30 plus minutes from now, called How to Become the Person You Want to Be, which should be super fun. So thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate your time and attention, and I wish you all the best.